What does your life actually look like at every level of wealth, from underwater to untouchable? This is your life at every net worth level, from negative to dynasty. Every number, everything money fixes, and everything it never touches. Here's what it really looks like. You are minus $11,000, not zero, below it. You wake before the alarm because the alarm is your phone, and your phone might be shut off by Friday. The ceiling has a water stain shaped like a country you will never visit. You owe more than you own, and the gap has a name now: negative net worth. About 1 in 10 American households live here, underwater, where every dollar you earn already belongs to someone else. You learn the choreography of avoidance. You learn which calls are bill collectors by the area code. You learn to buy the smaller bag of rice because the big one is gone before payday. You drive on a quarter tank because filling it is a decision, not a habit. The car is a 2009 sedan with 190,000 miles and a check engine light you have trained yourself not to see. The light is orange. The light is always there. You have made peace with the light because the alternative costs $400 you do not have. Your phone buzzes. Overdraft. $35. Charged for being $35 short. The bank punishes you for the crime of poverty, and the fee compounds, and the math runs the wrong direction while you sleep. You skip the dentist. You skip the doctor. You let the small problem become the large one, because the large one can wait, and the rent cannot. This is the secret tax of the bottom. Everything costs more when you are broke, and the cost is paid in your body. You pay $40 in interest on a payday loan you took to cover a $60 gap. The annual rate is almost 400%. You know this. You sign anyway, because the math of the moment beats the math of the year, and the lender built his entire business on that exact surrender. You learn the geography of the dollar store, the food bank hours, the days the gas station prices drop. You become an expert in a subject no one wants to master. Poverty is a full-time job that pays nothing and demands everything. And you are very, very good at it now. One night, you do the arithmetic for real. Total debt, total income, the number of months. And you understand, sitting at the kitchen table at 2 a.m., that there is no month where this ends on its own. Something has to change, or this is the rest of your life. You decide to climb. You are paycheck to paycheck. You crossed zero. You owe nothing, and you have nothing. And somehow that feels like wealth. 65% of Americans live in this exact place, the largest tier of all, where the account hits empty the day before the deposit lands. The apartment is real now. $1,100 a month, a parking spot, a door that locks. You have a job with a name and a schedule. You have a checking account that does not scream at you every morning. But you have no cushion. None. A $400 surprise would break you, and 40% of Americans say the same. The transmission, the emergency room copay, the unpaid sick week, any one of them sends you back below the line you just clawed above. So you do not get sick. You do not let the car die. You hold your breath through every month and exhale only when the direct deposit clears. You learn to live in the 4-day window between empty and full, and you call it stability because you have never known anything calmer. You watch the people one tier up and study them like a foreign country, how they fix a problem the same day it happens, how they do not flinch at the cost of a tire. You memorize the distance between you and them, and it is exactly one emergency wide. You save $40, then a tire blows and it is gone. You save it again. This is the loop. This is the treadmill where you run and the floor moves and you stay exactly where you are. You start a budget app and watch the deposit land and the bills swallow it in a single afternoon. Rent, utilities, the car, the phone, the food, the minimum payments. By the math, you are solvent. By the feeling, you are drowning in slow motion with your chin just barely above the line. What money has not solved yet? The fear. The fear lives in your stomach and wakes you at 3 a.m. doing the math you already know. You are not poor anymore. You're simply one bad week from poor. Forever. And the distance never feels like enough. You climb. You are the middle. Your net worth crosses $50,000, then $100,000. You have a 401k with a real balance and a home with a mortgage and equity that grows while you do nothing. The median American household sits near $190,000, and you are finally inside that number instead of beneath it. The car is newer. The fridge is full without a calculation. You take a vacation once a year, and you do not finance it. The cushion exists now, 3 months of expenses in a savings account, and the 3 a.m. math has gone quiet. But a new thing arrives, quiet and patient. Lifestyle creep. The raise becomes a bigger car payment. The bonus becomes a kitchen renovation. You earn more, and you keep almost none of it, because the spending grows to swallow the income, and the gap between rich and comfortable stays exactly as wide as it ever was. You are comfortable. You are also exhausted. You work 50 hours to hold a life that looks effortless from outside. The mortgage, the daycare, the 2 car loans, the quiet pressure of a standard you set for yourself and now must feed. You learn the difference between looking rich and being rich. The neighbor with the new truck is one missed paycheck from ruin. The man with the modest car owns it outright and owns the house behind it. You learn that the middle class is a costume, and most people are wearing it on credit. The emotional beat lands here, soft and unwelcome. Your kid asks why you are always tired. You do not have an answer that fits in a sentence. You are tired because middle is not a resting place. It is a tightrope you walk smiling. You climb. You are comfortable. Upper. $250,000 in net worth, maybe more. You're in the top quarter of American households, and you can feel the difference in your shoulders. The car is paid off, the mortgage is ahead of schedule, the savings have a comma, and the comma is permanent. You stop checking prices on groceries. This is the first real luxury, and no one warns you how strange it feels. You put the steak in the cart without flinching. Money has solved hunger, solved shelter, solved the small daily fears that ran your whole life until now. You fly without thinking about it. You fix the car the day it breaks. You say yes to the dinner, the trip, the better seats, and the saying yes feels like breathing for the first time. This is what the bottom imagined money would feel like, and the bottom was right. But the comparison engine turns on. You drive a nice car and park beside a nicer one. Your house is lovely until you see your neighbors. The reference point moves every time you do, and the satisfaction evaporates exactly as fast as you earn it. You begin to understand that this tier is where money stops solving problems and starts buying convenience. Below this line, money is survival. Above this line, money is leverage. You are standing on the exact seam between the two, and you can feel both worlds pulling at you. The emotional beat. You have everything the broke version of you prayed for, and you catch yourself, on a good day, feeling vaguely behind. The hunger did not die at the bottom. It just changed what it eats. You climb. You are a millionaire. $1 million in net worth. The word you have carried since childhood. The finish line of every fantasy. And you cross it on an ordinary Tuesday while updating a spreadsheet. There is no confetti, there is just a number and a strange flatness where the joy should be. You are the millionaire next door, not the yacht, the plumber with 2 paid-off rentals, the teacher who maxed a Roth for 30 years. Real millionaires are mostly invisible, driving used cars, living below their means, and that quiet discipline is the thing that got you here. The money works now while you sleep. $50,000 a year in growth, in dividends, in appreciation, more than you earned your entire first decade of work. You have crossed the line where capital outruns labor, and the world tilts. You are now paid for owning, not only for doing. But you tell almost no one. You learn that the word millionaire changes how people look at you, what they ask for, what they assume. You start to keep the number secret, even from old friends, and a small distance opens that you did not choose. You learn that $1 million is not what it was. It does not buy a private jet or a yacht. It buys a paid-off house, a comfortable retirement, and the right to stop worrying about a $400 surprise forever. It is the destination of 1,000 fantasies and the floor of the actually wealthy, both at once. The emotional beat. You achieved the dream, and the dream did not transform you. You are the same person with a larger balance, still anxious, still comparing, and you realize, quietly, that the number was never the thing you were actually hungry for. You climb. You are a multi-millionaire. $5 million. Here, the lifestyle finally unlocks, the part the millionaire next door never touched. The second home, the private chef twice a week, the kids' tuition paid in full with a transfer that does not move the needle. You stop working for money and start working on purpose, or you stop working at all. $5 million at a 4% draw is $200,000 a year, forever, without touching the principal. You are, by any honest definition, free. The cage door is open and you can walk out any time. You buy time now, not things. A house manager, a bookkeeper, a team that erases the friction of life so your hours come back to you clean. This is the real product money buys at this tier. Not luxury, but the deletion of everything you do not want to do. But the staff is a staff. There are people in your home who work for you, and the line between warmth and employment blurs, and you are never quite sure who likes you and who likes the job. The first wall of the famous loneliness goes up here, brick by brick. You discover that 5 million is the quiet sweet spot the data keeps pointing to, enough to be free, small enough to stay human. You still fly commercial sometimes. You still know your neighbors. You can disappear into an ordinary crowd, and you do not yet know how much you will miss that later. The emotional beat. At a dinner party, you cannot tell anymore who would still be in the room if the money vanished. The doubt is small, and it never leaves. It will follow you, growing, all the way to the top. You climb. You are ultra-high net worth. $30 million. There is a name for you now in the reports. UHNWI. There are about 600,000 of you on Earth, and roughly a third live in the country you started broke in. You have left the world of products and entered the world of access. Private banking opens its doors. A relationship manager flies to you. You do not apply for things. Things are offered to you. The rates, the deals, the rooms, the early calls on opportunities ordinary money never hears about. Wealth at this altitude compounds on information, not just capital. You fly private, not for the leather, but for the time. No lines, no terminals, no strangers. You move through the world in a frictionless bubble, and the bubble is wonderful. And the bubble is a kind of solitary confinement you chose without noticing. But now the fear returns, wearing a new face. Not the fear of losing the apartment, the fear of losing this. You have something enormous, and enormous things attract lawsuits, kidnap and ransom calculations, the cold arithmetic of strangers who have priced you. You hire security. You stop posting where you are. You learn that at 30 million, the money is large enough to be dangerous to the people who hold it. You set up trusts, not to grow it, but to protect it. From lawsuits, from divorce, from the in-laws, from your own children's worst decisions. The fortune now needs defending like a castle, and you are no longer its owner, so much as its warden.
The emotional beat. Your children grow up behind the bubble. They have never pumped gas, never felt the orange engine light, never done the 2 a.m. math. You gave them everything you lacked, and in doing so, you took from them the very struggle that built you. You climb. You are a centimillionaire. $100 million. Just over 100,000 people on the planet have crossed this line, and you now need an institution to hold what you own. You open a family office, lawyers, investors, a chief financial officer, a staff whose only job is the management of you.
Money stops being money here and becomes infrastructure. Trusts, holding companies, layers of structure built to move wealth across generations and around the reach of tax and time. You do not spend your fortune. You operate it, like a small nation with a flag no one else can see. You can buy almost anything a human can buy. The jet, the island, the team, the building with your name considered and declined, because a name is a target. And here you meet the wall the whole climb has been hiding. There is nothing left that money has not already solved, and the hunger has nowhere to go. But the paranoia is total now. Everyone who approaches wants something, and you are usually right to think so. You vet new friends like business deals. You sign agreements before relationships. The trust that came free at the bottom now costs more than the 100 million, and you cannot buy it at any price. You learn that the family office is its own small civilization. It has a budget, a culture, internal politics, people who manage the people who manage your money. You wanted a team to handle your wealth, and you ended up running a company whose only product is you, and it never closes, and you cannot quit. The emotional beat. You sit in a house with 11 empty bedrooms, and you remember the apartment with the door that locked, and the strange truth surfaces that you were not lonelier then. You were surrounded by people who had no reason to lie. You climb. You are a billionaire. $1,000 million. There are only a few hundred of you in the entire country, and your wealth is no longer personal. It is structural, woven into companies and markets and the lives of people you will never meet. You do not have money. You have power, and power is heavier than you imagined. Everything is solved, and nothing is quiet. You are recognized. You are studied. Your sentences move stock prices, and your silences make headlines. You have crossed out of private life entirely, and the privacy you took for granted at every lower tier is simply gone, sold off without your ever agreeing to the price. The isolation is now near total. You cannot have an ordinary conversation because there are no ordinary people left in your life. Only employees, petitioners, rivals, and the handful of equals who are as guarded as you. You float at an altitude where the air is thin, and there is almost no one to breathe it with. You learn that at this height, every relationship is a transaction you must decode. The friend who calls, the cousin who visits, the charity, the politician, the stranger with a smile. You spend your remaining years auditing affection, and the auditing is its own slow poverty,
The one kind money built instead of solved. But here is the cruelest figure of the whole climb. More money does not make you happier past a point you passed long ago, near the comfortable tier with the stake in the cart and the savings with a comma. You bought every floor above that and felt almost none of it. The chart of joy went flat, while the chart of wealth shot to the moon. You learned the cruelest lesson of the entire climb. Studies put the point of diminishing emotional return somewhere around a comfortable, secure life, a fraction of 1% of what you now hold. Everything above that bought status, not joy. You spent decades and tens of millions chasing a feeling you already had at the stake in the cart and could not see it then. The emotional beat you fear more than any audit or rival, the simple thing the man at the bottom never feared: being forgotten. Dying unloved in a house full of paid strangers, your name on a building and on no one's heart. You climb. One last time. You are dynasty. The money has outlived its maker and become a bloodline. Hundreds of millions, billions, locked in trusts that pay out for 100 years, structured so the family never works again unless it chooses to. You did not earn this tier. You were born onto it, at the apex, looking down the whole ladder you never had to climb. You inherit the fortune and the fear together. The fear that you will be the one who loses it. They say it themselves, shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves in 3 generations. The founder who built it, the child who kept it, the grandchild who scatters it. 70% of wealthy families lose the money by the 2nd generation, 90% by the 3rd. The dynasty's true enemy is the dynasty. You have never known hunger, never known the orange light, never done the 2 a.m. math. And so you have never built the thing that math builds. You have meaning handed to you, and meaning cannot be handed. The trust pays your rent and your therapy in the same wire, and you sit at the top of everything, searching for a single problem that is honestly your own. You learn that the dynasty's real product is not money, but identity, and it is the one product it cannot manufacture for you. The name precedes you into every room. People meet the fortune first, and the person second, if at all. You spend your life proving you are more than an account number to a world that already decided you are not. And you look down the ladder, all 10 rungs of it, from the dynasty's quiet apex to the water-stained ceiling at the very bottom, and you see the whole machine for what it is. Every tier solved the fear below it and invented a new one above. Every floor bought the thing the floor beneath it prayed for and went hungry for the floor above. You see the everyman at level 1, minus $11,000, driving on a quarter tank under an orange light he has trained himself not to see. And you understand from the very top that he and you are running the same race in opposite directions, and that neither end of the ladder ever feels like enough. The cycle continues. Which world do you want to wake up in next? Tell us in the comments the rank, the empire, the life you want to live from the inside. Subscribe, because the next ladder is already loading, and we will see you at level 1.